Donald Trump is going head-to-head with one of the most powerful politicians in the country. In this case, it's not Hillary Clinton. It's House Speaker Paul Ryan, the highest-ranking elected member of the GOP. Yesterday, the Speaker conducted a conference call with his members and said he would no longer campaign for Trump and that his focus was on helping Republicans hold on to their seats in an effort to maintain their majority and a line of defense against the potential Hillary Clinton presidency. Trump took to Twitter saying, quote, "It's hard to do well when Paul Ryan and others give you zero support," and that, quote, "disloyal R's are far more difficult than crooked Hillary. They come at you from all sides. They don't know how to win. I will teach them." Currently, the Republicans have 246 seats in the House of Representatives. Democrats need to win 30 of those to take over, and some hope a decisive Clinton victory could do the trick.
We picked up 29 in 2006, and so in the context of a wave election, there's historic precedent. And a significant number of seats currently held by House Republicans were won by Barack Obama. If Hillary Clinton can improve upon Barack Obama's performance slightly, as she looks like she'll do right now, we'll be in the House majority. That'll be good for the American people.
Some of the Republican rank and file are giving Ryan some pushback and are standing by Trump despite the now infamous videotape of the candidate making derogatory and vulgar comments about women.
I don't say either that an apology absolves everything, but he has apologized and he's shown the first signs of humility that Donald Trump has shown throughout his entire campaign. If we're going to move a conservative Republican platform agenda, the best way to do that is with a President Trump.
So can Trump rally enough Republicans to keep his campaign alive, and can the party even survive as we know it after Election Day? Joining me are three Republicans. Former Governor Jane Swift, who now runs a language school in conjunction with Middlebury College in Vermont. So good to see you, Governor Swift. A long time. Robert Hedlund, the mayor of Weymouth. Nice to see you, Mayor. And Jennifer Nassour, of course, former chair of the state Republican Party. Good to see all three of you. The elephant in the room, Governor, is that there are fewer and fewer elephants in the room. Can the Republican Party on state levels and in Congress weather this Trump implosion?
Well, I am very hopeful in Vermont, where I now vote. We have a very close race for governor, and Phil Scott may very well win the governor's seat. I am hopeful that Kelly Ayotte will survive in New Hampshire, but it's very difficult. I ran in 1996 for Congress when a very popular presidential nominee lost Massachusetts by 36 points. That's hard to overcome.
And by the way, when you mentioned Vermont, the good news for your candidate is Bernie Sanders is not even campaigning for the Democrat. Is that correct?
No, Vermont's an interesting place.
You know, Bob Hedlund, the suggestion, I thought Kelly Ayotte, showing how little I know about politics, was cooked when she said that Donald Trump was a role model for her kids at a debate. 3 hours later, he's not a role model. I misspoke, and we know subsequently she's withdrawn her endorsement and said he should pull out of the race. Are all politics local? Are the Republicans going to survive down ballot because ultimately these races are passionately local, or does Trump have potential to sink them all?
I think it's such an unconventional year, and I think the fact that both of these candidates have such incredible recognition levels, everybody knows who they are, and
I think Trump and Clinton.
Correct,
yeah.
And I think everyone understands the circumstances that this is such a different dynamic. I don't think that you're going to see as much an effect down ticket as you possibly could have.
People don't split their ballot, though, nearly as much as they used to. You know that. That trend is almost disappeared in national elections.
I understand that, but I think this is such a unique situation that I think people are separating Donald Trump from the party. Trump himself is separating Donald Trump from the party, and I think people are seeing that.
So they're doing wishful thinking. The Gallup, the Wall Street Journal, NBC poll that everybody's talking about, in which Trump is down 11 points to Hillary Clinton. This is taken this weekend, by the way, after the videotape was released. 49 to 42%. Who would you like to see control Congress? The Democrats. Is that bad news, or are you with them that all politics are local?
I think all politics are local. I mean, I think you are going to see some of a trickle-down effect. I think the thing that Republicans right now are really concerned about is that people may stay home. And so people like myself, like the governor, where, you know, we're in this age group of very educated women, career women, who look at this and say, Hillary Clinton has nothing that's relatable to, and Donald Trump is repulsive. And so where do we go? Do we go out and vote or stay home? And the fear becomes, if they stay home, those down ballot races, that's where it gets hurt.
You're in the category of finding him repulsive, even though you're the Republican Party former chair. Is that correct?
Repulsive, yes.
Let me see if there's actually a regional governor who is still with him. I want to know if this changes your mind. Here is Governor LePage. Sometimes I wonder that our Constitution is not only broken, we needed Donald Trump to show some authoritarian power in our country and bring back the rule of law. We're slipping every single day. We're slipping into anarchy. I just think that former years of a similar mentality is going to destroy this nation. Is that going to change things for him?
I think that guy has kind of the same moral characteristics as Donald Trump, and so they play in the same waters.
So the answer is no.
Yes.
You know, Jane Swift, on some level, it makes sense to me that Trump could be a problem down the line, despite what the three of you say. But the flip side is Trump has touched a nerve with a lot of people, and not just the basket of deplorables, but people like, I don't know if you saw Matt Weiser's great piece in the Globe the other day about Butler, Pennsylvania, the class of '78, how they can't afford retirement, they can't afford to send their kid to college, they can't afford whatever. Is it possible he's on to something that these mainstream Republicans who are running away from him just don't get?
So I think you're making an important distinction, because I have known for a long time that Donald Trump doesn't support me and would never earn my vote. But I have tremendous respect and share the concerns that many of the voters who are turning to him because they're angry. And frankly, I'm angry too. I do think that our federal government is broken. I agree that we haven't seen the type of progress that you would want. And frankly, we've known for 3 decades that folks were going to need a different kind of education to be successful in this country, and yet we haven't done it. So I share their anger. I just don't end up in the same place.
But let me just say, to the two, are you with Trump, by the way? You're sort of libertarian.
I'm voting for him.
You're voting for him. So it's one of those former Kelly Ayotte things. I'm not endorsing, I'm voting. Is that what it is? Okay, I just want to be clear. But I mean, this is really,
I wanted to be clear.
To the two of you, despite what you say, and I've spoken to you about this before, I assume you share some similar sentiments to what the governor said a minute ago. I'm not a Trump supporter, but if I were, I'd say, well, she's just saying those words. I feel those things, and if you're not with my guy, then you're on the other side of this divide. You can't say you understand it and not support the man who's the voice for that.
Matt Weiser's piece was excellent. I don't know how it got by the censors at the Globe, by the way, but
they've done great reporting on the Trump phenomenon, I should say, and they're not calling him.
It was a great article.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to get disinvited to any of their cocktail parties, so thank you for sticking up for them.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
But, I think it was a great article, and that there is something happening out there. I mean, in my hometown of Weymouth, it's a Union Democrat town. We had a record turnout in a Republican primary.
They vote for Trump in the primary?
Yes.
They did, okay.
Yes.
Well, and frankly,
the point I wanted to make was there's also a frustration with the Republican leadership in Congress. Obama said that, we got shellacked when the Republicans, had the gains in Congress in the last election cycle. And I think Republican voters in some of those states, in areas where they've been hit hard by trade and open borders, are frustrated. And you see that dynamic happening that Weiser picked up in that article.
What are you going to say, Governor?
I was going to say I come from North Adams, so I do understand those voters. I'm related to many of those voters. I know people who are voting for Donald Trump. I just can't go there. But there is no doubt that working class individuals in this economy are not doing well. If you look at the most recent stats, white men with a high school degree, only a high school degree, have lost ground on their income.
Let's talk about women instead of white men for a second. Largest gender divide, I think, in recent times was in the Romney Obama race, 20-point gap. It seems to me that it was bad enough for Donald Trump and the Republican Party on Friday. It got worse Friday afternoon when that Access Hollywood thing came out. How does the Republican Party, what do they do about that other than say, I want to distance himself from the man who uttered those words? What do you do to not have that kind of gap again?
Well, George Will had a great article today who
say?
said perhaps this is the chemotherapy that the party needs. We have to go back and revisit what we're offering in terms of solutions. And in some ways, I've said since the primary, and I was with a different candidate, that it's probably bad for the country to have Trump as our nominee, but it's probably necessary for the party that we stick with the person who won, and Humpty Dumpty will have to get put together again after the election.
So in 30, 40 years, there'll be a Republican Party again?
I agree. Exactly what the governor said. I think that this is a cleansing of the party, and this is the best cleansing that we could possibly have.
Presidential elections are not supposed to be for cleansing. They're supposed to be for winning.
I know, but you know what? I think that this is an opportunity for us to look at ourselves and say, maybe our model has been wrong, and we need to go go in a different direction. Otherwise, we're going to keep getting candidates.
Do you worry? I know you say you're voting for him, but 11% seems to be, and the Ryan departure seems to be. He said today, "I'm freed. My shackles are gone."
Oh my God.
Isn't it possible he's going to say far worse things and do far more damage to your party now that he's probably beginning to accept that I might not win this thing?
Probably.
What
But
worse,
let me just say,
what worse can he
one
say? So seriously, what worse can he say?
Well,
so,
if I asked you Thursday, what worse can he say? You would have said nothing, and then you saw the
context of
video,
the question
right?
was what he said, what he would say now, as opposed to finding some video from the past. But just let me say one thing about the cleansing. The cleansing happened in the primary. Now, I was with a different candidate, as Jim knows and you guys know, in the primary, but there was an anti-establishment cleansing because the base felt let down by these people that they sent to Congress to take over Congress and make some change.
But I think the base
and not
is
enable Barack Obama.
It's a different base, though, because I would say we are the base. We are the base, and the other part of the base
You're not
are
the base in Pennsylvania and Ohio and places like
well,
that.
it is. The
conservative
reason he's going to
Republicans.
lose so
How
badly is
many-
because he can't get suburban women.
Well, it's
outside
almost
of
like the two
Philadelphia.
Republican parties, though. Speaking of
Yes.
women, one more thing. We only have a minute left. You spoke at BC today, I think, about, I don't know if you call it gender bias, but what we all remember what you lived through, and I should say virtually the only reporter who was on your side when you were going through
We
travails.
don't all remember.
Marjorie Egan, actually, my radio co-host. Is Hillary Clinton a victim of gender bias? She and her people say that there's clearly a double standard applied to her in this campaign. Is there?
I think we see women through a very different lens, and I think we see that women react to candidates through a very different lens. There's no doubt that it's different. Sometimes it works to your advantage. Sometimes it works to your
Is Hillary
disadvantage.
Clinton, I mean, she's clearly the beneficiary on some side because she's a woman, but she's
Hillary
also a
Clinton
victim
is
on another side,
clearly,
isn't
I'm not
she?
going to call her a victim, but we definitely, you guys cover her differently because she's a woman. There's no, I don't think that that's even an argument.
Who are you voting for?
I don't know who I'm voting for. I just know who I'm not voting for.
That would be Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Who are you voting for?
I'm exact with the governor. I know who I'm not voting for.
Boy, that face gives it away. Governor, it's a pleasure to see you
Nice
again.
to
Thanks
see
so
you.
much for coming. Mayor, good to see you. Jennifer, thanks so much for your time.